Deep in the heart of Bavaria, nestled among the vast and silent woods, stands the lonely Hinterkaifeck farm, a place where an eerie tale of mystery and murder unfolds. The Hinterkaifeck farm, a solitary establishment, was as isolated as one could imagine. It was situated miles away from the nearest neighbor and enveloped by an intimidating expanse of dense Bavarian forest. The farm's only inhabitants were the Gruber family, a hard-working clan of 6 who knew the land they lived on like the back of their hand. However, in the days leading up to the end of March 1922, the Gruber family's quiet farm life began to unravel. The first hint of strangeness was the disappearance of the house keys. They vanished without a trace, leaving the family perturbed but not alarmed. After all, they were miles away from anyone who might pose a threat. But then, there were the footprints. In the virgin snow that blanketed the farm one winter morning, a set of mysterious footprints emerged. They began at the edge of the forest and led straight to the farm, but oddly, there were none that led back. The footprints hinted at an unwelcome visitor, yet a thorough search of the farm revealed no sign of an intruder. Unsettled yet helpless, the Grubers could only hope for the best. And finally, the noises. Strange sounds began to emanate from the attic. Scratching, shuffling, an occasional soft thud. The family searched for a logical explanation. Perhaps it was a trapped animal. But a search of the attic yielded nothing, leaving them with an unnerving feeling that they were not alone. The Gruber family, despite being rattled by these events, carried on with their daily lives, hoping that the unsettling signs were just a string of odd coincidences. But the ominous chill that hung over the farm was hard to ignore. Little did the Gruber family know that these strange occurrences were ominous signs of the terrifying fate that awaited them. The date was April 4th, 1922, when a chilling discovery would shake the quiet Bavarian countryside to its core. The Gruber family, along with their newly hired maid, were found brutally murdered in their isolated farmstead. In the heart of the Hinterkaifeck farm, the bodies of the patriarch and matriarch Andreas and Casilia Gruber, their widowed daughter, Victoria Gabriel, and her 2 children, Casilia and Josef, lay lifeless. The 6th victim, Maria Baumgartner, the maid who had just started her work that very day, was also found dead. Their bodies bore the gruesome evidence of a violent end, each of them bludgeoned to death. The scene was disturbing, to say the least. The bodies in the barn were found meticulously covered with hay, while the little boy and the maid were found slain in the house. The details were macabre, the brutality of the act incomprehensible. What was even more baffling was the apparent lack of motive. The Grubers were a simple farming family, and nothing about their lifestyle suggested a reason for such a heinous act. Adding to the eerie nature of this grim tableau was the fact that the family was not discovered for several days. Yet during this time, the farm seemed to operate normally. The animals were fed, the homestead showed no signs of a struggle, and the daily chores seemed to have been carried out. This suggested that the murderer or murderers had stayed at the farm after the act, living alongside the very horror they had inflicted. The Gruber family's nearest neighbors, who initially discovered the bodies, recalled seeing smoke rise from the chimney and the farm animals roaming the yard as usual. This unsettling detail painted an even more disturbing picture of the events that unfolded at Hinterkaifeck. The brutal murders sent shockwaves through the local community, and an intense investigation was launched to find the perpetrator. These events marked the beginning of one of the most chilling and enduring mysteries in the annals of true crime. As the investigation began, it quickly became clear that this was no ordinary case. The authorities were confronted with a crime scene that was as perplexing as it was brutal. A whole family brutally murdered, with no clear evidence pointing to the perpetrator, left the investigators in a state of bafflement. The initial investigation was marked by a lack of concrete evidence. The murder weapon, a mattock, was discovered in the barn, alongside the lifeless bodies, but it bore no fingerprints. The house showed no signs of forced entry, and nothing of value appeared to be missing. This lack of tangible leads served only to deepen the enigma surrounding the Hinterkaifeck murders. As the detectives delved deeper, they were met with a series of peculiar details that added to the mystery. There was the unclaimed mail at the post office, suggesting that the family had been isolated from the world days before the bodies were found. Then there were the untouched meals in the kitchen, a chilling testament to the abrupt end that had befallen the family. Strangely, the livestock and the family dog had been cared for after the murders. These oddities led the investigators to believe that the perpetrator had stayed on the property for a few days after committing the crimes. As the days turned into weeks, the investigation churned up a myriad of theories. From the possibility of a vagrant murderer to the suspicion of a disgruntled neighbor, each theory seemed plausible, yet lacked the evidence to cement it as fact. Several suspects were questioned, their lives scrutinized, their alibis checked and double-checked, but all to no avail. Each lead seemed to hit a dead end, leaving the investigators back at square one. The lack of progress in the investigation led to an increased sense of unease and frustration. Theories continued to swirl, each one more outlandish than the last. Was it a crime of passion? Was it an act of revenge? Or was it the doing of a deranged mind acting without rhyme or reason? The lack of answers fueled the speculation, turning the Hinterkaifeck murders into a source of morbid fascination for the public. Despite their best efforts and the passage of time, the authorities seemed no closer to unraveling the mystery. The investigation, once a beacon of hope for justice, seemed to fizzle out, its flame extinguished by the insurmountable wall of uncertainty and lack of evidence. Despite their best efforts, the police were unable to solve the mystery of the Hinterkaifeck murders, and the case was eventually closed, leaving more questions than answers. The tragic tale of the Hinterkaifeck family ended not with a resolution, but with an enduring enigma that continues to captivate and baffle us to this day. Over a century later, the Hinterkaifeck murders remain one of the most chilling unsolved mysteries in German history. This gruesome tale has intrigued and baffled investigators, historians, and mystery enthusiasts alike, weaving an intricate web of speculation, theories, and unanswered questions. The enduring fascination with the case is hardly surprising. After all, it's not every day that an entire family is found brutally murdered in their own home. And yet the Hinterkaifeck murders are not just a horrifying crime. They are a puzzle, a riddle wrapped in an enigma, a story that seems to have more questions than answers. Over the years, a myriad of theories have been proposed in an attempt to solve this chilling mystery. Some suggest that the killer was a vagrant passing through the area, while others believe it was a disgruntled neighbor seeking revenge. There are those who argue that the murderer was a member of the Gruber family, driven to madness by some unfathomable motive. And then there are the more outlandish theories. Some claim that the Hinterkaifeck murders were the work of a secret society or even the result of a government conspiracy. These theories, while far-fetched, reflect the desperate desire for an explanation, any explanation, to make sense of this senseless act of violence. In 2007, the German police reopened the case in a fresh attempt to unravel the mystery. This was not a decision taken lightly. The authorities knew that they were unlikely to find any new evidence, and that the chances of solving the case were slim. But the allure of the Hinterkaifeck mystery was too strong to resist. After painstakingly re-examining the evidence, the police reached a conclusion. They believed they had identified the likely perpetrator, but due to the passage of time and the lack of definitive proof, they chose not to publicly name the individual. This decision, while understandable, only served to deepen the mystery and fuel further speculation. The Hinterkaifeck murders, despite the best efforts of investigators, remain an enduring mystery. The lack of a definitive answer leaves us with a sense of unease, a feeling of unfinished business. The questions linger, like ghosts in the night. Who committed this heinous crime? What was their motive? And why, despite all our advances in forensic science and criminal investigation, can we still not solve this century-old mystery? The Hinterkaifeck farm, now a desolate and haunting reminder of a past atrocity, stands as a testament to the enduring mystery of what truly happened to the Gruber family on that fateful night in 1922. A chilling tale, forever etched in the annals of unsolved mysteries. This is the legacy of the Hinterkaifeck murders, a story that continues to captivate, intrigue, and haunt us even over a century later.